Sophia Bennett thought her inheritance was a $50 million hotel. It turned out to be a battlefield where she had to finally destroy her own family's toxic legacy. I don't think I've ever heard someone sound so honest and so afraid as Sophia did when she first spoke about the leather folder that sat on her grandmother's desk. It was heavy, she told me, like a heartbeat you could feel in your hands. Inside, the deed to a $50 million hotel, a 21st birthday gift from her grandmother. It should have been a moment of triumph, but before Sophia could even take a breath, the front door opened and the air shifted. Her mother, Brenda, walked in, her new husband, Scott Miller, right behind her. "We should manage it together as a family," Brenda said, wearing a smile that had long stopped meaning warmth and now only meant control. When Sophia, standing firm for the first time, told her, "Absolutely not. I'm the owner now," the smile vanished. "Then pack your bags and leave this house," her mother snapped. Sophia didn't argue. She didn't move, because she knew something they didn't, that the night was not about their demands but about her grandmother, Sharon Bennett's final, devastating move. A move that would end their performance for good. When people look at Sophia now, they see the hotel, the marble floors, the glass lobby, the Bennett name etched in gold above the entrance. But what they don't see is the noise that used to live inside that family. Sharon Bennett, Sophia's grandmother, built everything from one roadside motel in Vermont. She was 21 then, Sophia's age now, and she turned everyone's doubts into a luxury collection people whispered about with envy. Brenda, Sophia's mother, inherited none of Sharon's discipline, only her pride. For Brenda, success was about being seen. She loved camera flashes more than blueprints. She loved control more than family. Sophia's father, Mark, was the opposite. Calm, steady, keeping the operations running quietly for years while Brenda chased appearances. When Sophia was 16, that balance collapsed. Mark left, telling his daughter he couldn't stay where love had become performance. The silence that followed was the kind that fills every corner and never leaves. Brenda remarried quickly. Scott Miller, a smooth-talking business consultant who spoke in phrases like synergy and global expansion. He was everything she thought success looked like: shiny, loud, and hollow. Not long after, Brenda sent Sophia to live with her grandmother, claiming it was for stability. Sophia knew better. She was just one less witness. Life with Sharon was quiet but never dull. Her home smelled of cedar and coffee. She treated Sophia not as a child, but as an apprentice. Sophia studied architecture while her grandmother showed her what legacy truly meant: discipline, risk, and the courage to start over when others call you finished. Years passed. Her mother's calls grew shorter, her words sharper. They were strangers, connected only by blood and legal paperwork. Until that morning, Sophia's 21st birthday, when Sharon asked her to sit at her desk, and the leather folder was waiting. "This is your inheritance," her grandmother said, "but it's also your test." Sophia didn't know what she meant yet, but she would soon enough. Because sometimes, the moment you receive everything you've ever wanted is the same moment you find out who's coming to take it from you. Dinner that night, the family gathered around the long oak table, felt like a celebration. Roasted lamb, candlelight, and Sharon smiling in that rare, peaceful way. Sophia remembers thinking, maybe things are finally steady. Then the doorbell rang. It was one of those small sounds that change everything. When Sophia opened the door, the chill from the porch hit her first, then Brenda's perfume. Her mother, in a cream coat, hair curled just so, her smile stretched thin and glossy. Beside her was Scott, wearing that smug confidence that always smelled like cheap cologne and deceit. "Happy birthday, sweetheart." Brenda's voice dripped with false cheer. "We were just in the area." They didn't wait to be invited in. Brenda's eyes darted around the house, landing on the folder still sitting on the table. "We heard about your big gift," she said, her tone sugar-wrapped with poison. $50 million. How wonderful. But running a business that size isn't for children. You'll need guidance. That's why Scott and I thought we could manage it together as a family. That word family landed like a slap. "A proposal for something that isn't yours." Sharon's voice sliced through Scott's explanation. The air shifted. Brenda shot her mother a warning look, the same cold defiance she used to use on Mark. "Mother, please, let's be practical." "Practical?" Sharon repeated. "Like when you mortgaged the Burlington property without authorization? Or when you disappeared for 6 months to expand and came back with debt?" The color drained from Brenda's face. "That was years ago." "Yes," Sharon said softly. "And I remember every year it cost me." Brenda turned back to Sophia, her voice brittle. "Sophia, don't let her turn you against me. We're family. We should rebuild together." But the way her eyes devoured that folder told Sophia the truth. This wasn't about rebuilding. It was about reclaiming power. "Dinner's over," Sharon said, resting a steady hand on Sophia's shoulder. "Some things aren't up for discussion." As the door closed behind them, Sophia caught the whisper her mother left hanging in the air. Quiet, venomous, and meant only for her. "This isn't over." And she was right, it wasn't. The next morning, the house didn't feel like home anymore. Brenda and Scott were already there, sitting in the dining room with a ledger and whispering about potential restructuring. Two intruders wearing family as camouflage. "Stable?" Sophia asked, keeping her voice even when her mother suggested they take care of the boring parts, so Sophia could focus on her degree. "It's been stable for 50 years. She left the room, letting the silence stretch until it started to itch. That afternoon, Sophia went to Sharon's office. "I was hoping they'd at least pretend to wait a week," her grandmother sighed. Sharon pulled out another folder, identical to the one Sophia had received. "There are things you don't know about your mother and Scott. Financial documents, deals that were meant to be hidden." "Why didn't you tell me?" Sophia whispered. "Because sometimes," Sharon said, her eyes meeting Sophia's, "the only way to teach someone how to defend what's theirs is to let them feel how easily it can be taken." They spent the rest of the day preparing. The evidence was there. Payments, transfers, ghost accounts. By the time the sun set, Sharon was tired but calm. "Tomorrow," she said, "we'll invite them back for dinner. Let them think they've won." The invitation was bait dressed as peace. At 7 sharp, Brenda and Scott arrived. Brenda in red, the color of control. Scott with that wide, expectant grin. Dinner began in polite silence, but Sophia could feel their impatience. Finally, Brenda couldn't resist. "Managing a business of this scale is complex. It's unreasonable to expect a 21-year-old to handle it alone." Scott laid out their plan. He'd handle optimization. Brenda would oversee PR, and Sophia could shadow them. Instructions, not proposals. "You mean I'd sign the ownership over to you both and you'd manage it?" Sophia asked. "It would benefit everyone," Brenda said, her smile too wide. We're family, after all. Sophia took a slow breath. You're right. We are family. She paused, then cut in. Which is why it's time we stop pretending this is about love. Brenda's expression froze. Sophia pushed the folder toward the center of the table. You wanted transparency? Fine. Let's start with this. Sharon opened the folder, her voice slicing through the thick air. These are bank statements from the Burlington account. Withdrawals made under Brenda Bennett's signature. Funds that never returned. Brenda's face drained. And these, Sharon continued, are emails from Mr. Miller's consulting firm. Proposals for overseas expansion projects that don't exist. Signed by both of you. You had no right to, Scott started. I had every right, Sharon interrupted, her voice steel. You tried to mortgage the core hotels under shell companies. You thought I wouldn't notice. The room was silent, save for the fire crackling in the hearth. Sharon slid one last document across the table. The ownership amendment, she said. Effective immediately, all control transfers solely to Sophia Bennett. You are hereby removed from every board and trust. You can't do this, Brenda whispered. I already have, Sharon said. Then came the explosion. Brenda shot up, shouting, This is my legacy, my life. You can't just hand it to her. You handed it away yourself, Sharon said. Brenda turned on Sophia. You think you've won? You're a child playing grown-up. You'll drown in paperwork before the month's out. Sophia met her glare. Maybe, but at least it'll be my mess. Brenda spat the same words she'd used days ago. Then pack your bags and leave this house. But this time her voice sounded small. That's when Sharon laughed, a soft, knowing chuckle. You're right, Brenda, she said. Someone is leaving this house tonight, but it's not Sophia. She reached into her purse and placed another envelope on the table, a court order. You've both been served. Fraud, embezzlement, conspiracy. The investigators are waiting outside. Scott's face went pale. You called the police? I called justice, Sharon said simply. 2 officers entered quietly. Scott didn't fight as they led him out. Brenda followed, her breath ragged, eyes wild with disbelief and despair. When the door closed, silence filled the house again. But this time it was lighter, cleaner, the kind that heals instead of haunts. Sophia was shaking. I'm sorry you had to see that, Sharon whispered, placing a hand over hers. No, Sophia replied quietly. I needed to. As the red and blue lights painted the driveway outside and the last car disappeared down the hill, the night finally exhaled. They didn't toast, didn't celebrate. They just sat in the quiet glow of the fire. 2 women who'd survived the same bloodline, finally breaking the toxic pattern. Weeks later, the house hummed with peace. Scott had disappeared, and Brenda was stripped of everything. Money, position, pride. Sophia's father, Mark, had come by, his eyes holding nothing but pride. Sophia graduated top of her class and celebrated quietly with her grandmother at the hotel's rooftop. Sharon raised her glass and said, "To new foundations." Sophia realized that her inheritance wasn't a hotel. It was freedom.